That lake is full now. Wow! 2 weeks ago, that lake was empty. Now it is full. Holy crap. That's awesome. Before, you could walk clearly. You could walk all the way across. Hello, everybody, and voice crack. Hope you're all doing great today. It has been very cold here in California, and it has been raining quite a bit, as you can see from the lovely overcast skies. Got a few hours before it's supposed to rain again, so I took this opportunity to get a quick video in, do a quick ride. It's the day before New Year's Eve, December 30. Just wanted to share something that I had found some time ago that I thought was pretty interesting and something that I'm going to be personally giving a try. So we all know about New Year's resolutions, and I've never been one for New Year's resolutions. Never really tried, just because I'm the type of person where it's like, all right, if I'm going to do something, I'm just going to do it. Just do it! I'm not going to wait for some arbitrary time to do it, like New Year's. Like, yeah, it's cool concept, like, okay, new year, new me, whatever. But for me, I'm like, okay, if I want to be healthy, if I want to go on a diet, if I want to start something, I just do it. I don't wait for something else to happen to do it. I have never really been one to do New Year's resolutions. And if I did do them, I know they wouldn't really stick for whatever reason. Because for me, it'd be too much pressure to try and, stick to that, or, try and do something that's a little too regimented. So I know for me, New Year's resolutions just won't work. So I never really thought about it. But there was this concept that I had heard about, and I don't remember where I heard it, but while I was doing some research into, mental health and getting into better behaviors and things to practice, I stumbled across one video, and if I find it, I'll link it below, but I cannot remember because I was watching so many different people. But one of them had the concept of, instead of New Year's resolutions, doing a yearly theme. The concept of this is you're just going to focus on a theme. You have the flexibility to make it as structured or unstructured as you want, as long as you're constantly kind of focusing and doing activities and behaviors that correspond with your theme. So a common example being, okay, I want to work out more, I want to go to the gym, right? So typically the New Year's resolution would be, I want to go to the gym 4 times a week. Right, just as a broad example. Or I want to lose 50 pounds, right, pick a number. Instead of having that, the theme would be health, or athleticism, or weight loss. And then, over the course of the year, you do small things that tie into that theme. So, if you're trying to be more athletic, okay, so naturally going to the gym would be a part of that. But you're also open to doing things like more activities like rock climbing, or hiking, or walking, or jogging, or swimming, or any other sport that falls into that theme. It kind of opens it up for you a little bit. And it gives you more of that flexibility. It's not so regimented where it's like, oh, well, I only went to the gym 3 times this week instead of 4. Therefore, I failed my goal. Or I failed my resolution. And then it just becomes more negative. If I'm going to fail anyway, why should I keep going? So this offers you a bit more flexibility and forgiveness for yourself, where it's like, all right, if I don't do something one week, I can just try and do something else the next week. So it gives you a little bit more freedom and flexibility to keep going, and it becomes a much more sustainable behavior. And I think that's really a key reason why so many New Year's resolutions fail, is because they're not sustainable. People get tired of them, or they don't have the discipline, or they're just not fun, or people aren't seeing progress as fast as they would like, and so they give up. Or they get distracted and forget about it. The theme is so broad and so open where you can find a bunch of small things that can help you create a sustainable behavior, so that way you're always working towards your theme. And so I thought that was a really cool concept. And that's something that I'm going to be trying for the first time, and we'll see how it goes. And I've really already been doing it for the last 2 months. So it's just going to be carrying over into the new year, but just with a with a bit more focus on it, if that makes sense. So for me, my New Year's theme is going to be on mental health and just wellness. Because these last few months I've been really struggling as a result of the new job I'm in. It's really exacerbated some of the issues that I've always had, but never really got in the way of things. It never really impacted me because I knew how to cope with them. Or I unconsciously and consciously had developed a series of behaviors and skills throughout my life to be able to handle those challenges. But with this new job being what it is, it's really exacerbated those issues where those previous behaviors and coping skills were not really enough to keep me in a positive and healthy mindset. That's where a lot more stuff would get to me. And so that's where I started going to therapy, and I started talking to multiple coaches and therapists to see, okay, what are some other things that I should be doing? And is there something that has been undiagnosed that also I should be exploring? So this is where we get into the mental health update, where I've been talking to multiple folks, because I believe it's a good idea to get multiple perspectives, right? Don't just take one person's perspective, get multiple perspectives. And if they're all kind of saying the same thing, then you can have a much higher level of confidence that, okay, there is probably something else going on here. The main focus of those conversations has been on anxiety. And after talking to some folks there, I haven't been formally diagnosed with anything, because I do have to do some more neuropsychological assessment and some other thing to really be diagnosed for something. But the general consensus is I have at least generalized anxiety disorder, which makes a lot of sense. And throughout my life, I've learned, different breathing techniques and strategies to deal with that anxiety, like focusing on the facts, not focusing on the emotions, focusing on what is true, and doing things to help break down that anxiety, like being physically active, working out, meditation, leveraging past experiences to disprove what the anxiety is saying. So the example being, if I'm worried about a test, focusing on other times where I've done very well on a test, right, to counteract that. So I've done that my whole life. So as I was talking to the various therapists, a lot of the skills and behaviors that they wanted me to do was like, okay, I already do that.
Just do it!
And so okay, well then let's keep doing that. Here's some additional things that you can do. So that's been really helpful. One of the things that was recommended to me by one of them was to start using an app called Balance. By the way, it's not sponsored. I'm just sharing my experience. And it's called Balance. Basically, it's a whole meditation focus, helps you sleep, helps you wake up. It's a whole bunch of things. It's a guided resource. So you start the app, and then you'll just listen to it, and it'll guide you through basic activities and behaviors that you can do. And it's been very, very helpful. My anxiety scores have been going down, which is great. And then the secondary part is, as I've been talking to the therapists, there was also a question of ADHD. And so I started reading some books. So I read through Driven to Distraction, and I'm going to start reading through the secondary book by that author, whose name I'm forgetting. I'll put the information here and down below. But as I was going through those case studies with ADHD, or at the time ADD, because now there's no ADD anymore, it's just ADHD with different kind of like subclasses. I don't remember exactly what they're called. But anyway, so as I was going through those case studies with ADD, there were some people that I'm like, oh my God, that's me. That's literally me. And especially when it thinks about, when you, for some examples, I'll forget about certain things. So there's an example of the cough drop, where this lady has a cough drop wrapper on her dashboard in her car. And then she's like, okay, I'll throw that wrapper away when I get to the gas station. She goes to the gas station, fills up on gas, forgets about the wrapper. Okay, I'll throw it away when I get home, or I'll throw it away when I get to the practice, or I'll throw it away in this, I'll throw it away that. And she just continuously forgets to throw it away. I'm like, yep, that happens to me all the time. Just one small thing I'll just continuously forget to do. Another example is I'll fade in and out during conversations. Like my mind will naturally just start thinking about something else. Even though it's an important conversation I may be having with someone, my mind will just naturally float away, and then it'll snap back, and I'm like, oh wait, I wasn't really paying attention. I gotta try and figure out what this person was saying this whole time. And other big example would be when I am reading a book, I'll get to the bottom of the page and realize I didn't comprehend anything that was on that page. And I'm sure some of you have had that experience as well, where you'll have to read a page 3 or 4 times for you to actually have read that page and to comprehend what was actually on that article or whatever it was. So like, yeah, that happens to me all the time. Mind just wanders away. And there's a lot of stuff with just procrastination, and so there's a lot of ties between the anxiety and the possible ADHD. I am not self-diagnosing. You should never self-diagnose yourself. If you are wondering if you have someone, go talk to someone who is licensed and experienced, and they can guide you through what that possible diagnosis is. You should never, ever self-diagnose yourself. So I am not self-diagnosing myself. I was just sharing, hey, there's a lot of similarities between the behaviors of what's in these case studies and myself. And so that's where I started to talk to some more people to explore that possibility. Their summation was, yeah, it's possible. It's not like an extreme case where, there's some people who walk in the door and like, yep, it's pretty obvious right from the get-go. So that's where I would still have to do the psychometric evaluation. I forget what the tests are actually called, but do those evaluations to objectively find out if, yes, this would make sense or not. So I haven't done that yet. I need to work on the anxiety first before we can start to do those other things, because it's sometimes difficult to attribute, is this because of the anxiety or is this because of ADHD or something else, as an example. So they would want me to figure out the anxiety piece first and then start to work on the ADHD part if there is something there. Because they're saying like, okay, if you try to do medication or this other stuff, like, fixing that won't necessarily fix the anxiety. I believe that, if you have ADHD, then it would certainly cause anxiety. So it may help with that, but there's a misconception that, okay, if I just take medication, it'll fix everything, which is not the case, right? Taking medication will help with something, but it won't fix everything. There's a lot of things where it's the behaviors that you do that's going to fix it, not just pop a pill and suddenly everything is better. It'll certainly help in some people, right? But not for everyone. So working on what I can control first, and then once the anxiety scores go down and I got good about that, then it would open me up for the evaluation to see if there's actually something there. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's been very positive. Going forward, it's just going to be continuing those conversations and continuing to build those behaviors and skill sets to where they become unconscious. I'm getting to a point where, okay, I'm starting to feel some anxiety. I naturally start to exhibit some of those behaviors and skills to lower that anxiety without really thinking about it, right? So example being like breathing techniques. So that's really my theme for next year, is all about mental health and continuing to refine those skills, learn more about what's going on, and just keep going down that track of focusing on what's in my control, continuing with the cognitive behavioral therapy, and really building those skill sets just to become a stronger individual, to build that mental health. And if you're not aware, mental health is one of the pillars of my channel. You can check out some of the phototherapy videos that I've done, where in the past I really focused on developing a specific skill to help you with mental health and to help develop those skills to be more productive and to be just a happier individual. That's really my end goal, is to help other people to be happier within their life. I encourage you to check those out, see if any of those are interesting. and I'll continue to share my journey through this anxiety, the possible ADHD, and then one of the other things I talked about earlier was also the dealing with the imposter syndrome, which I've really been feeling these last few months as well. And I feel like the imposter syndrome, the root cause of that is probably the anxiety/ADHD component. So I'm hoping if I'm able to really deal with the anxiety and anything else I may be going on, then I'll be in a much stronger position to be able to deal with the imposter syndrome. So let me know down below if you thought this New Year's theme is an interesting idea, if it's a new concept to you. Not knocking on New Year's resolutions, if that's something that works for you, by all means do that. I'm just trying to share an alternative perspective that I found personally interesting and that I'll be giving a shot. So let me know down below what you think. Let me know if this has helped you in terms of understanding if you have anxiety or ADHD, or if you've gone through this, please share down below what has helped you. Just because different things work for different people, and so the more we can communicate with one another, the more we can destigmatize this type of stuff, the more people we can help together. So looking forward to chatting with you, learning more, and we'll definitely keep you up to date with everything that's going on. I wish all of you a happy new year. As always, be brave, do good, certainly take care of yourselves. Here's to 2022. Have a great day, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.